are like T-minus like 4 days, 3 days, 4 or 5 days to DEF CON 34. Ooh, I need a light. Ooh, there we go. We got lights on in my office. But welcome back to Hacker Hangouts. Oh my gosh, we haven't done one in a while, but DEF CON is the excuse to get back together. And I miss you, Gowrie. I miss the people watching, and we will see you soon. So
and hack on. No.
Hack on. And then we end. Oh gosh. So we have there's so much to talk about for DEF CON. There's like our experiences, where we are, why we haven't been doing Hacker Hangouts, when we're gonna start back up. Zillions of questions on DEF CON 34. I went through Reddit and grabbed a absolute ton of them, of people asking like, what's the best way to get internet there? Is there good food places? Is there stuff that I absolutely have to do? What are some of your best tips? And we're going to just like nail a bunch of them and talk about DEF CON. And it's a shameless excuse to talk with you about DEF CON. Are you looking forward to this year's DEF CON?
That should tell you everything. I have a 1-year-old now, so my whole life has been upended. So this is probably the first year in a long time that I have not had any. It's not that I didn't have prep time. It's that something else has consistently taken priority over preparing or putting something together for DEF CON. So the only thing I can say is my life is very in the moment and immediate right now. And so I will worry about DEF CON when I get to DEF CON.
It echoes mine too. Like I'm building a house. Yeah. It's the chaos of the end of the build. We were supposed to be done in March. It's like August now. And then it was June. And then it was then it was July. And now we're into August. And what's so frustrating about it is, if anyone has ever moved, imagine like taking that date and constantly moving it. You're in this constant state of, my office has been packed and then unpacked and packed and unpacked because there's stuff I need. Stuff which I have for DEF CON, it's still in storage. So I'm like scrambling, and not only am I not prepared, but I haven't even like really given too much thought on like, here's the steps, here's what we're doing, here's the videos we're going. I know when I get there, I'm going to be able to focus on DEF CON and absolutely love it. And you can thrive at DEF CON. It's so much fun at DEF CON. But the chaos to get there, I have not even like considered. But I am pumped. I am excited. I know when we get there, I'll be excited. But right now, I'm like thinking about like a roof leak that just happened, in water coming into the basement, and like someone like broke our door wall and stuff like that, where it's going to take a minute to get out of my own head with it.
I'll say at least in Maryland, the thunderstorms this year have been kind of crazy. Our courtyard is about to lose a couple of trees, and it's like threatening our roofs and stuff. So yeah, I'm right there with you. Like, there's nothing like a random Tuesday where your roof starts leaking to make you think about what you're going to do for DEF CON.
What made me actually think of DEF CON the last like 3 or 4 days ago was what I saw was the badge leaked, or what I thought was, oh my goodness, the badge leaked. Wired was like the first one to do it, which was weird. And they're like, here's the whole badge, here's the specs, here's the chip, here's pictures of it, which in and of it is kind of terrifying for people trying to counterfeit them, which can be done and has been done already. Like Season X has already gone like, here's the full step sheet and step instructions for your 3D printer where you can do your own. Like, that's terrifying. But then DEF CON,
that's terrifying.
DEF CON quickly came out, and Jeff Moss said this, quoting him directly. We wanted to release it to generate buzz before the black hole of black hat news coverage, and because I wanted people to bring the tools and get ready to hack on it. We want to promote the open code so people have more than just con to understand it all. It's a pretty awesome chip. We haven't ever done something like this, and I really wanted to get a lot of people interested. So it was purposeful. And now all of a sudden, DEF CON has produced the code, talking about the chip. Like, obviously, they haven't done any of the crypto challenges, and all those are very well hidden. But it's kind of amazing. I think we had that huge jump up with Mars chip, where it was the full Raspberry Pi, where there's a whole bunch of games. This is like a brand new chip. Yeah. Like, normally it costs millions and millions of dollars to produce one, and now it's like he got to the story is really cool on Wired for anyone who hasn't seen it, where he was able to piggyback. Yeah, he was able to like piggyback Bunny. It's Bunny. I forget the last name. Was
Huang.
able to piggyback off another chip manufacturer. So his chip and their chip were printed at the same time. And then for the chip on DEF CON, it disables theirs so that because he doesn't have the rights to distribute it. But it's pretty cool. Like RISC architecture, open design. You can put like I think it was a UV light on it and then see the internal components instead of it just being like a black box. So I'm really curious to see some of the pictures coming from it, and really curious if there's like if there's some sort of challenge which requires you to do that.
Yeah, I guess I haven't thought about the quote unquote the badge challenge in so long. Like we come and we take a look at the badges, and then we go off to find the other things to take pictures of. And I haven't actually gotten to sit down and like play with the badge challenges in so long. I feel like this one, I mean, I took a quick browse, but I haven't read the whole article. This is interesting enough that like I definitely want to sit down and understand what it is they've done with this thing, because it being a fully open architecture, really cool, really cool. Definitely not something I suppose that we've necessarily seen before.
I'm excited to sit down with the designer because not only do you hear all the challenges with it, but I cannot wait to hear because there's no way someone's like, oh, I'm going to go off and just like create my own chip without having like a massive passion and even more so going like, this is a massive problem that I want to solve, that these things are black boxes and I want to release an open one. Like that's pretty cool. So
how about yourself? Do you have any things that you have planned for con?
I think the biggest one I've started planning is I thought on a few videos instead of a lot of videos going and focusing on like this one challenge or this one thing. I actually want to try and do more videos which cover more than one thing. Like do DEF CON contests and get a little bit of clips from all of them. Have what it's not a DEF CON unless, and then have people fill in the blank. Like, it's not a DEF CON unless you see Dual D dancing to, like, Careless Whisperer. It's not a DEF CON unless you hack on Snacky. It's not a DEF CON unless you XYZ. Those are the things I'm kind of looking forward to is seeing what people's responses are for that. Like, I used the tips video. It was almost a terrible video because you asked 30 people, 40 people, like, what is your best tip? And they're like, experience the people of DEF CON, 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 the people of DEF CON. And you're like, okay, any other tips? So I'm really curious to see what people have responded to some of those. So it's about it for a plan. I know we're going to do some official podcasting for DEF CON, so I'm kind of excited for that too.
It'll be good. It'll be good. I know there's an entire space set aside for, I don't know if you would call them creators. I would not call them influencers. There's an entire space set aside for, I guess, DEF CON media creators to be able to sit down and do live streams or podcasts or interviews and what have you. Something that we had a taste of last year with Silk's Roadhouse. And it sounds like they want to open that space up to more people and make it a little more dynamic. I know last year was fun because we had Carrie Byron, and like that was an unexpected turn, and it gave us like an exciting thing that was occurring, and got to, I guess, bring someone into the fold. My understanding is they might be coming back this year. At least they're going to be in Vegas to show the thing that they recorded last year. And we have a small video clip of Silk saying, essentially, I plug in the USB and it dumps out all the codes.
Oh, gosh.
So there's some viewing of that. It's like it's a TV special, and so there's some viewing of that on Wednesday that we might get a chance to go see. We haven't decided whether or not we have the space for it yet. If we do, like, I can't wait to see what kind of crazy things they cut out of that interview to make us look ridiculous, to have our own Gator Bite moment.
Like, do you believe the world is flat? And then there's just a shot of you. Yes. Clip. Just bam.
Yeah, exactly.
Just put that in. See, he's a flat earther. That's what it is.
But we
Oh,
knew that going in. We were like, ah, let's see what kind of crazy stuff they edit around to make us look silly and evil hackers. I actually don't think the crew that was there intends to do anything like that. I think they were very genuine. So I'm excited to see what they actually produced.
the thing I always keep in mind with any of those interviews is like, you assume the person's at their like pinnacle, like peak intelligence, and not that it's been like 3 days of like a constant conference and barrage of people, so your
Oh
brain's
yeah.
practically mush anyway. But you brought up the question. I'll ask the first one is there's going back to some of the Reddit questions, which is what are things you absolutely need to do at DEF CON 34?
What are things we absolutely need to do at DEF CON 34? For me,
Yep.
um, man, I have something planned and I can say one word, but it's going to spoil it. And we were just talking about that. Like, Silk, there's a couple people that know what I'm bringing to con with me. I have one thing that I planned a few weeks ago. It is not going to keep me locked down in any one space. It's going to have interactions with people and hopefully at least one contest. Um, but it is not all encompassing. So, there is one word that I would use to say like what can I have to like what do I have to do at DEF CON this year, but I cannot say it on stream because it'll spoil it for Silk, and then I'll be sad because I want to surprise Silk when we get there. So you guys can all look forward to knowing that I have something that I've planned specifically for this con, um, for myself. And I've said this previous years that like since becoming a goon, I've had to rethink how I interact with the conference a bit. And um, I enjoy doing photo and video and getting to talk with all the conference goers and be able to share what they're showing on the floor. Um, but it feels like I'm just being an archivist, I suppose, and not actually adding to the conference itself myself. And so I have planned something that allows me to do that. And I will probably get in trouble for it, which is great, which is exactly what we want. Um, but that's okay because I have schemers scheming with me to keep me out of
If
trouble.
if you had one piece of if you had one thing, like for someone who's never been to DEF CON before, what would be your one thing? Like you have to go do this.
I mean, I think you and I would both like innately say, "Oh, go do scav hunt," but I think it's actually not the best way to to do your first con. Um, I think your first con, you should whirlwind it and go to a handful of talks that you think are reasonable. Um, Go play the easy to interact with games. Like if Hack Fortress is there or one of the muds are there, things that you can just slot in and plan for. Sit down, if you've never picked locks, like just go like do a sampler, just do a tasting of each thing that's out there, because what happens is you'll find after a year or two there will be things that you're like, I want to do this, and I will spend my entire con doing that. But if you do that from the get go, you won't really know the breadth of the con, and you'll miss out on some things, which I think you and I learned. Well, you and I did Darknet for years, and like that's basically all we did, and we helped run it and all these things. And then we started doing photo and video and started running around. We were like, I want to see the whole conference. And then we realized, like, oh my God, we have been coming for over a decade. And we had no idea how big this conference actually was and how many people and how much work they put into like producing things for people to interact with. And so like every corner of the conference has something that you could spend your entire con on. And I would say like first one, even if you think it's boring, go see, and I'm not saying it is, go see the Blue Team Village and just like dig into what's around and get a sampling. right? Of just like what's out there. Yeah, I know.
I
I'm just
hope
doing
someone
that
takes
to
a
annoy.
sound bite just for you. I think what's so interesting. I mean, it's almost been 2 decades of going, and I think your advice is like that was kind of my first couple DEF CONs was go experience talks, and I did way too many talks the first couple of years, and then I all of a sudden was like, oh, there's other parts of this conference, and then you kind of found, for me it was contests. Like the moment I found contests, I'm like, why would I want to go anywhere else at this entire conference
Yeah.
but sit in a contest area? Like, I would agree. I think Scanfund though is a rite of passage. You have to pick up a list. You have to do one item. There's easy items on
Go
there.
pick up a list and keep it weird.
And keep it weird. I think the other one I saw over and over and over again on Reddit, which was how many VPNs do I need? How many secure connections do I need? How do I get internet? My response to those ones is like, if you want to VPN back to your house, like if you have like, for me, I have servers here, and sometimes for like whatever challenge I'm working on, instead of booting up a local VPN, I can go in here. But like that's like any standard protocol, like WireGuard, Wi-Fi man. If you have Ubiquiti, Tailscale, insert any VPN, it's fine. The reality at DEF CON, it doesn't even matter. Even if you're on the open wireless, devices have gotten really good. We're no longer doing HTTP. We've started realizing, oh, you do need security on these things. And if you treat it like any other coffee house or public Wi-Fi, you're pretty much fine. You could go on the open Wi-Fi, connect to your bank, and as long as you're not like accepting bad certificates, you're fine. Like we have very secure protocols at this point. You don't need to overthink it. You don't need a permanent VPN unless you're like coming back to your house. So
unless
overall,
you, like the only thing, because like DNSSEC is still not a thing. So like if you care about people knowing your IP address, look it up, shady website.onion or whatever, like that, then be as paranoid as you want. But the reality is like no one's looking. Like I think what did we look at? We caused this a few years back, where they came out and they were like, oh, and we had this much data downloaded and this much data uploaded. And you and I were like, I think we were half of that.
Yeah, no, it was I think it was DEF CON 28 or 29, the year we did like 60 videos. And I was the person who's like, you know what we need? We need 4K video of all of these. And like every video uploaded was like 20, 30 gigs. Like just absolutely none of the compression was right. I had no idea what I was doing with editing. And their like total uploaded data was like 10 terabytes. And we were like 7 of it. It was so bad.
Yeah. And well, the funny piece about that is just like nobody's looking. Like
the reality is this.
There's just too much data now.
That was the thing. Is like even if you had like no one's dropping 0 days at DEF CON, but like or in the conventional sense, like no one's dropping an iOS exploit, a Windows 0 day. Like 0 days a misnomer. There's gazillions of 0 days every single day on everything. But as far as like like a remote code execution, no one's dropping that at DEF CON. They're too expensive. But the second piece of this is
maybe not
if you wanted to target someone at DEF CON, like here we had Bluetooth. Darknet, Bluetooth badges. We're like, we'll have them sync over, or no, it wasn't even Bluetooth, it was RF. We're like, we'll use RF. Not many people are RF. How much congestion is there? We had badges 2 feet away from each other that were they're meant to interact, and they wouldn't interact. So like the idea that someone could like target an individual among the thousands of people there, best of luck doing it. Best of luck doing airdrop there, let alone anything else. So I think for the most part, the one thing I will say is secure Wi-Fi. The DEF CON secure Wi-Fi is great. It's secure. You have to register for it. You download certificates. Do that. You have internet at con.
Do they even do the open? Like I always wonder this. Do they even do the open Wi-Fi anymore? I'm at the point where I'm like, I'll just use the open Wi-Fi. It doesn't matter. Everything is fucking like encrypted anyway.
They do it, I think, for the open CTF. So the open Wi-Fi connects to the open CTF. That's why it's there. There was a lot of other questions about like at this point you're too late. Everyone's travel's already done. But like what day should I arrive? Like Actual registration doesn't open up till Thursday. Pre-reg, I think, like weirdly enough, DT extended it to I think like August 3rd, so you can still pre-reg, which is awesome. I would suggest people do that because that line gets you a for sure badge. With it being a new chip, I don't know. I have no insight on any of that stuff. LineCon starts Wednesday night, though. People are nuts and they stand in line and they have a party in line, pizzas and everything else.
But I thought the conference center closes, and so they don't allow it anymore.
Nope, they did it. The last time I was there for it was 2 years ago, first year at LVCC, and no, DT bought pizzas for him.
Oh wow!
So like, it is DEF CON embraces it.
I thought the conference center. Okay, I think I'm probably misthinking, which is the main area of the conference center where everything actually happens. That closes at like 1 or 2 a.m. or something like that. And I think most of the rooms throughout the conference center have a closing point. So like the chill out rooms don't chill out for 24/7 anymore, I don't think. Mm-hmm. But I think you're right, because it happens in the common area. They may still allow it.
There might be
I'll be honest, I haven't attended LineCon in a few years. And actually maybe I should do that this year, since we're showing up on Wednesday. We should go to LineCon in the middle of the night and do LineCon, because we've done one video on LineCon. We should get
I've done photos of it almost every year.
Yeah, we should do a little more LineCon content, because that's where all the diehards are.
Well, the craziest one is you go there and there'll be people like soldering villages, or like not soldering villages, but they have all their whole soldering station and everything like that. A lot of people who are badge creators are there, which is really fun. I did notice on the on the DEF CON badge, which was released, they have 2 SAO ports that were upside down. And so they have an adapter which flips it upside, and now there's a bunch of them getting released online. So if you have SAOs, that would be one of those ones, is get the flipper. Not the flipper, but something that flips the SAOs.
I can't find my eggplant SAO.
Oh gosh. There's a lot. Some of what people have done with SAOs is absolutely incredible.
Remember that our eggplant SAO was the infected eggplant. Gave you I think it gave you herpes.
It did. Yep. You plugged it in and it activated it on the badge. And then anyone who plugged their eggplant into yours would get it as well and start spreading it.
I think it was a percentage chance. God, that was a good year. That was such a fun year. That was such a cool badge.
So one of the things we had talked about is contests. And one of the weirdest trends I've been seeing with so many of the contests is AI embracing it. And you and I experienced this last year or 2 years ago, where we were like, let's go compete in something. And it was when ChatGPT was becoming a thing. We both had LLMs. I was like, oh my gosh, so much of this can be solved to just copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. Now, it became less fun when you weren't even reading the questions. You're like, just copy, paste, copy, paste. But it wasn't like, not everyone had embraced it. Even the Hack Fortress contest, like that was one where it was like, while I had 3 of them getting solved, I was working on the harder ones and then getting all the easy ones solved. It gave you a huge leg up. But a couple of contests this year have now come out and said, you cannot use AI for our contest. Like a couple of them haven't been public yet, but some of the really more technical ones have just said, nope, no AI in our contest.
He's like, I have questions about this, but like, do you have an example of a contest that has said this?
I needed to figure out if it's public. And so there are a couple of them. A lot of them are like, I'll use a similar example to like the industrial control village, like the ICS capture the flag, the maritime capture the flag. Like some of these ones where it's more of a wild protocol or a needle in a haystack problem where you're looking at these massive packet captures and things like that. So I don't know. I've seen a couple announcements on it. I don't know which ones have been public and which ones haven't. So I don't really want to be like, here's ones that have announced it, because I think they're still trying to figure it out.
It's mostly, my question is mostly like, are these things it's a matter of like, how are they going to enforce this? Is this like you have to be present and sitting there in order to do it, and they can shoulder surf you to make sure you're not using it? Or are they just like going to trust that people aren't going to use it, and you can compete remotely type thing?
That
Because
I don't
like,
know. I'm
how do you enforce it?
You could put some blocks there, but again, it's one of those things. It feels like a teacher in high school saying, "No, you need to use an encyclopedia because Google is too easy, or it's not.
Or
Wikipedia is not going to
Wikipedia
be
is unreliable.
is
Um,
unreliable." And it's like, no,
and then
no more than your
and then you
encyclopedia,
find
which
the
says Pluto is a planet. Still upset by it, by the
yeah,
way.
well, or you find out later that the guy who wrote the entry on elephants is just some guy in like Utah who's really into elephants. But doesn't have like a biology degree or like any. He just really likes elephants.
What's your thoughts though on effectively saying for a contest, nope, you're not allowed to use AI?
Um, I get it. I mean, the past couple of years, we have consistently used AI in a couple of contests to just kind of cheat is the wrong word because in hacking there's no such thing. But we'll say cheese it, where
Yeah.
we sit down and we're just like, yeah, we could just cheese this. Like we could do this whole contest in a there's a reason why. First of all, Reality Overrun is back this year, I think. And they have they're doing their contest. And like for the past couple of years, we have definitely competed and used a model to either answer the questions, and which is really funny. At the time, it was not good enough for like the pop culture questions. So like you would be just copying, pasting in, and then you would read it out loud, and I'd be like, "Oh, it's this answer," and you were like, "What? How did you know that?" And I'm like, "Because it's pop culture,
Because
man." And I would fail to get it, and we were just kind of laughing about that. I think that's not going to be the case anymore. I think it's going to be really, really good now. Um, but I know that they're back, and I know last year they had implemented a whole game, and we basically dissected their whole game using Claude, and we like got to the point where we were helping them debug it as we were finishing the game, and they were
oh
like, "Yeah,
yeah.
we haven't implemented that. How did you do that?" And we were like, "Well, what do you mean? Like, we just looked at the entire state of the game and we figured out how this works. Oh,
Oh
by the way, we
goodness.
could choose your protocol like this to determine who's real and not, and blah blah." Good contest design look like in this period? I don't know the answer to that. And if people don't want to engage in that, I think it's totally fair. Like, I'm not going to tell people what to do or how to design their game, or that they can't do this, or that they shouldn't limit tools or whatever. I think there is value in constraints um, around like even at the Olympics, we limit what physical gear people can use because we know that there is physical gear that would make athletes better. And we don't want to turn this into a gear testing
Mhm.
competition. We want to test human capabilities at at the Olympics. So I think there's value in it. I think probably there's some measure of, is it there because it is an explicit constraint, or is it there because the game design doesn't work in a post AI world?
I would
Right.
use the example of like things like, again, a contest which was on APT detection, or some sort of logging event detection. AI is going to be really good at that, and a human is going to take a lot more time finding the needle in a haystack or a needle in a needle stack. Like there's a lot of
Um,
pieces like that where it's going to be remarkably difficult to like regulate it, but also it just feels like that the horizon is these tools getting involved. I use a university as an example. A university has said like we're banning AI. Well, your test is created wrong. Like in the sense of like your test should not be solvable by AI. The
yeah.
kicker though is like I go to AI has been in LLMs have gotten so smart lately and so quickly. It takes years. Like Darknet took years, an entire year to build all the challenges. So like even in that year of building challenges, even if you designed them early on where they weren't solvable, 6 months later, you're now going to have to redo all of that work. Like it is
Yeah.
creating challenges that humans can solve and AI won't be able to is, I think, becoming very, very, very difficult.
I think, well, two things. We have a comment from Josh Hubner 5647. I think it's more like show your work in math class. In some senses, yes. And like we'll take calculus for example. You don't do calculus tests in college on a computer. You do it on a piece of paper and like there is no requirement in every class I ever took. There's no requirement to actually show your work. If you put down the right answer, you got full credit. If you put down the wrong answer and you did not show your work, you got 0 credit. If you showed your work and got the wrong answer, they can pinpoint where your reasoning went wrong and they would decide how well you understand the problem in order to give you a fair marking. If you like accidentally flipped a sign plus versus minus, but you got the result correctly and it was a trivial mistake, you would get like 9 out of 10 points, right? And so I think there is value in that. However, if you go talk to any high performing CTF player, they have for years used tools that outclass anything the average person going to DEF CON would utilize. And it would look like black magic to you, right? Disassemblers, lifting languages from one place into another, recompilers, some of these emulators, they're doing things that to the average person would just look like complete black magic. And the reality is it's the equivalent of them having access to a TI-87 or whatever that everyone else is still doing it on paper. To the extent that like showing your work versus like your game design is wrong, I think academia is struggling with the same problem because at least in computer science, a lot of stuff a lot of testing humans was based on does your code work and can I read it? And now we have a thing that can just generate it to the requirements. So if you hand someone requirements that are reasonable, they can hand you back something without having needed to actually think too hard about it, which is not an indictment of any part of the process. That's the best thing that we could come up with the tools that we previously had available. What it tells me is that we've always been testing the wrong things. Right? We've always been testing, like understanding, like Silk said, needle in a needle stack. Those kinds of problems. Oh, and what is the like hiding data inside of an image?
Steganography.
Steganography. Silk and I absolutely abhor steganography because you have to know what tool they use. You have to know the exact format. Everything has to be absolutely pin perfect in order to get the answer. It is the worst kind of
challenge.
Of
100%.
Yeah, it is just the worst because like once you know what was used, you're just done. Like you just get the tool, you do the thing, and you unpack it.
I think there's only been one time, maybe twice in 100 of them, like in 100 of them, where it was like, oh, well, I uploaded it to the website, but then I forgot that they were going to compress the crap out of it, and it dorked it over. Oh, well, I uploaded it to this, but it comes down and it's G-zipped and it screws up a little bit. Like, so frustrating.
Like, there's an entire class of challenge that is that kind of needle in a needle stack test that were never good. They were like, that is just like, it is a real problem that you would have to do on a day-to-day basis as some definition of a professional hacker. But it's like the worst part of the job. Why is that? Like, why are we defending that as a game design, for example? And like, you learn things from cutting your teeth on that, but universally there are challenges like that that are just abhorred. And if you're defending a design on a challenge like that by saying you can't use AI because it makes it trivial, guess what? It made it trivial because that problem sucks and no one wants to do it.
But I mean, that's just like basic game design, though. At a certain point, is like here red herring. Like, it's not getting yourself in the mindset of the person competing. Like, where you start introducing, people will generate their own red herrings. You don't need to put them in.
Yeah.
Like people come up
Jesus.
with their own stupid silliness that makes
That
absolutely no sense.
that's not challenge
Regardless
design.
of
No,
how.
that's like that's game design and just not understanding good game design, right? Like if you put red herrings into stuff, you're just an ass.
I think that the hardest one is this though. Is I'll use Hack Fortress as an example. The entire game lasts 15 minutes. Like for anyone who doesn't know, Hack Fortress though they are coming back this year. I think they're doing a different game. Maybe they're going to keep going. I think they're using Quake this year. Like they had like a trailer they released where they couldn't do. I think Team Fortress had kind of hit a barrier where now, like I don't know if it went closed source or they couldn't upgrade versions or whatever, but like I believe they're using Quake, which is really cool because the announcer in Quake is one of the best. Like just
What is?
such a good announcement.
Oh, I'm probably thinking of Halo.
It's the really awkward one. So the announcer in Quake is a really awkward one. No, it was the one where if you had the volume up too loud, your parents would like go, what are you doing in there? It's like very excited woman. That's all it says. Say if you've heard that announcer, that's the one. And it's very, very, very awkward. Do you play it loudly? But DEF CON will embrace it. But the point is so gamers will play the game. See, people will solve crypto challenges. The people solving, or not crypto, but like a bunch of different security challenges, physical, web, all of that. As they solve and solve those things, it gives them points to use in a shop to make the gamers like get critical hits or something. As the gamers do better, it gives hints over to the hackers. The kicker with this is every single challenge is made to be solved in under 15 minutes. They're all actually like, if you know the route, they're all supposed to be solvable in like 3 minutes, 3 or 4 minutes, every single one of them. So every single hacker should solve like a handful of challenges. So they're designing a challenge that has to be solvable within 3 minutes. How do you balance that with something like AI and go, okay, I need to put weaknesses into this so quickly that it's solvable in 3 minutes, but now it's solvable in 30 seconds? It has massively changed challenges.
Well, and we've had this discussion. Like we have an entire thing on like, are we just AI validators now? Because like now the game is, I'm just gonna sit there with a Claude prompt and just monitor what it's doing, just to go Control C, stop. You're doing the wrong thing here. Go down this route. And the people who know what the people who know what this challenge is likely to be are more likely to drive the thing to the correct solution much more quickly. It's just, it's hard. I'm not going to say that I blame people for saying like, no AI allowed. I get it 100%. The worry I have is that like, you're going to have two classes of people that cheat and people that don't. And it's going to be really hard to understand one versus the other.
Well, and then you start going, well, what's AI? What's AI cheating? Like, what does it look like? Is it the LLM solving it? But if I have like Copilot or Ints or whatever, I can tab complete code on. So I'm writing by hand Python code, but I can tab complete. At what point am I crossing the line? Like, it's just a quagmire of a mess.
I think we all can look at something and be like, you know it when you see it. Like the line is the line, and you just make arbitrary lines. It happens in any sport too. Like some of the rules are arbitrary, but it's there because there is no hard definitive rule. It comes down to an opinion on where the line is.
Yeah, I'll be so curious how they solve some of this thing. Like it's just as far as like how the challenges will deal with it and things like that. Like it's gonna be interesting. And in some ways, like I hope whoever the runners are figure out a good way of doing it. My guess, I think the way you could enforce it would be for something like Team Fortress is don't cut off internet access. Like you can use your own system or something like that.
Yeah.
But the problem is like then you say like, oh crap, I need Wireshark or something like that, and I forgot to download it. Like great, I need to
like it puts more burden on the contest runners to like, you're like, oh, well, then they have to provide a curated environment. Well, now they have to provide the machines. They have to provide the environment. They have to publish the tool list ahead of time, which I think all of that is reasonable, but these are volunteers. So like you can't I just remember the one year we were playing on, or we were hacking on Darknet, and I said, "Oh, I'm going to make a mobile app, so they can interact with X, Y, and Z." And I use Android, so I was like, "I'm just going to make it for Android." And they told me, "No, if you're going to do it, you have to do it for both." And I was just like, "Well, then I'm not doing it because I don't work for you." Like, I was going to volunteer my time to do something fun, but like, I'm not taking direction on the things I had. Like, I'm not gonna, like, I know I've done an Android app before. I know how to do this. I know how to do it quickly. It's not that I don't agree with the stance that you should be, like, in a proper product, you should be cross-platform. It's that I would have to spend 6 months figuring out how to work in the iOS realm and make it work, and I don't have anything to test on. And like, that's not what I wanted to do, so I'm just not going to do it.
The funniest one here is like the two things you mentioned is like they would have to curate an environment with tools. The problem is the moment you do that, as someone who's played a zillion of these CTF challenges, the moment I see a list of tools, I'll know how to solve half of them. Like
Yeah,
you need Wireshark in order to do it. Oh, great, I'm looking at packet captures. You're gonna need
well,
Nick2 or whatever it is. It's
what I
like,
mean is
well, I
just
know
like,
this is the type of
it's a,
challenge.
is it still Kali? What is it now? I don't remember.
Yeah,
You
Kali
just
Linux.
you just install Kali and it has and like, that's your environment, right?
Yeah, but
And then
then you the moment you do that, you're like, well, yeah, but there's like 8 different disassemblers, and I don't use that one. I use Ollie, or I use WinDebug, or I use whatever. Like all different debuggers
I,
don't like either way.
yeah, no,
I
this is what I mean. They have to provide a curated environment, and that puts people at a disadvantage for other reasons.
I think the
But
funniest thing what's going to end up happening though, and we both know this is exactly what's going to happen. You're going to use AI to help create the challenges, and then you use AI to start solving the challenges. And at one point, we can both just like everyone can just step back and just have both the LLMs fight.
do do you remember the year they did this, the Cyber Grand Challenge, and then that was like on stage at the finals, and we showed up just to. I think it was one of the first years we started doing. You started doing photo. We showed up, and they're like, "All right, we're gonna begin and go." And then there was just a crowd of people in the room watching server. Like, there was nothing to watch.
It's like this is fun.
Yeah, you were like, oh, right, I forgot. These things are just sand with lightning in it. Got it. There's nothing interesting to look at here. I, so I have been playing on something like this kind of cross section here. I'm going to lead us slightly elsewhere, but I think it would be an interesting um, contest design to think about. Not, I want to test an individual's knowledge on something, but I want to test what they can do with it in an open-ended context, given some set of like things to do. And so I'm going to use this as an example, and I don't know if you can share my screen here. There's a game that I've wanted to play for a really long time. This is Slayer's Royal. It is like 1997. This is about 30 years old. This game has never been translated into English. It never, ever, 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 ever will be translated into English. Um, and there's all of these great debuggers out there, PCSX, for example, here, that have fully, like, I have a full assembly debugger down here. I have, you can capture the GPU VRAM. There's a whole Lua integration, and we can't see off to the side here is I have codecs running in a prompt that has Lua access and an HTTP access to all the debugger features of PCSX. And this is 1 day's worth of work. 1 day's worth of work. If you know anything about the games from this era, early PlayStation, it's that the text is not text in the actual game. The text is a set of tiles, and then offsets into those tiles represent what that text is so that the renderer can actually put it on. Modern games would actually just have it be text, and then you could just plop in new text. And so if you want to translate this game, you have to go find the offsets into those tiles, and then you actually have to reprogram the tile maps, and then you may not have the space you need to actually fill in. So like this set here might be too long, or like it might be like a really long sentence, but you only have this number of character slots to actually do the translation. And so if you actually want to be able to do proper translation, you might have to actually go modify the code of the game to do so, because it's not just normal text. In one day, I have been able to drive, like, and I know a little bit about this from prior game hacking. I've been able to, but I know nothing about PlayStation or any of this engine or whatsoever. I was able to drive this to be able to at least translate the main menu and then like the first interaction between characters. And so it was a whole thing. I have the sound turned off right now for obvious reasons. But like this is one day's worth of driving. And I would not say that it did not require knowledge and it did not require discovery on my part to go do this. This was an active, iterative process for me where the prompt was teaching me about the actual, like the engine itself, right? And so this was all Japanese yesterday. And this is all tile changes. It's crazy, right? And so like there's a lot of anti-AI sentiment out there. But this, I think, is an example of like, this is really, really cool that this took one day to do it. Some people would look at this and say, oh, this is someone's entire job that's being replaced. And my answer would be, this particular media was lost to an entire non-Japanese set of humans, and it is being made possible to access now.
Yeah, and that's really cool.
Can be done completely by volunteers in a way that does not take years to do, right? Years and years and years to do. So yes, I understand there's a whole other discussion about this that we've had many times before, and we could litigate it all we want. But I think there is a potential value in contests taking an open-ended design like this, where it's like the goal isn't solve a hacking challenge. The goal is, here is a set of things that we do not have good data on with a discrete endpoint, and let's see how much you can document and learn about these esoteric human things that are lost to us. For, like, in this case, it's a language barrier and the loss of the engine and loss of the source code for these things. Like, if you had the source code for all of this, you could do a lot of this trivially, but that's lost to time. Mm-hmm. Like this is 30 years old. There's probably people that helped write this system that are dead, right? Like this is like lost media. It will never be recoverable. And all of a sudden it's recoverable. I would love to see contest designs like this, where they take this kind of media, and there's going to be a subjective component to it to say, like, who wins, right? Quote unquote. Mm-hmm. And I think some of the winning has to be like, produce a human readable document that says how these things worked and what these people did and how the hell, like I think there's a lot of value in that. And at the same time, I can walk away and I could say, like, I can tell you how part of this engine works now. Now, I had some prior knowledge on how some of these things worked, like tile hacking, but I completely think, and part of the problem is finding the tool set. So I went through like 3 or 4 different emulators to actually be able to make this debuggable. Some of them were not stable, and I finally found that PCSX was stable enough to do this. And it took me some time to help Codex figure out how to drive it by itself without me having to sit in front of it constantly. But at a certain point, it starts. I've only done like this first scene, so eventually, like, it goes back to being Japanese. But I think there's value in a contest that's open ended like this, where the goal is just like it's too big to do in a weekend. But the goal isn't necessarily translate this thing in a weekend. The goal is understand enough about some of this ancient media and its contexts to be able to generate something that can reason about it. Like what we'll call the output a set of prompts or whatever, but in a way that like a human can actually understand what was done here previously. Like there's an anthropological piece to this, I think, that is very interesting. That would have taken years and years and years. And I'm going to be very aggressive about this. No one would ever do this. I'm probably the only person on earth that cares. Like, I want to play this game, but I don't want to translate the game and then go play it because I'll have ruined the game for myself.
Yeah.
Because I'll have had to read the script. I have a thing that can go do the translation for me, and I can give it some guidelines on like, here's the behavior of different characters. But like I can have it translate the game for me now, and I can play it without ruining it for myself. And I'm probably the only one that will ever play this.
What's interesting? Are you good? I'm gonna pull the screen off.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
What I take from that is in designing challenges in years to come, it may require creating challenges that humans by themselves are not able to solve. Meaning, like the problems have to get way more difficult, and probably a little bit more solving larger problems. Like if you're going to have to design a game, it's just kind of sad in some ways because a lot of but also like, again, as someone who has played many CTFs, they're all almost the exact same. Like if you have crypto ones, you find the cipher, pick the cipher, decode the cipher. Like so many of them are based on ciphers or codes. And I could see this hearkening in a new generation of challenges, which are not just here's your cipher, here's your challenge, here's your blob of encrypted something, here's a weird archaic cipher from World War II that you need to decode. It will go to more of a, here is a massive problem that we expect you to solve in a much shorter amount of time. A good example of this would be like Crucible. So if you remember Crucible, that was one Zero Altitude created for Darknet. It was a AWS system which rebooted every 5 minutes or something. It was like 10 minutes or something like that. But there was no way you as a human could solve all the challenges on the box in that time. So you would have to solve what you could, script it up, because you had to solve everything in order to solve the Crucible. So you would have to script everything up, and every time before reboot, you'd run it, get as far as you could, and then solve the next piece. I think it's things like that where it's going to take some creative thinking before you can actually like go off and have the AI go off and figure it out.
I agree with that. Although what you're describing is a maze, and I think that's one game design that obviously would work because like there's an iterative nature to it, and even if you are using an LLM to do it, you have to be present and actively driving and actively reacting to what's changing, because if you just point any LLM, I don't care what it is, if you just put any LLM at something like that and say, go solve everything, it will do it. It will just take a really long time to do it. And like me sitting down and doing this translation thing, if I told it to do that, it would have done it very poorly, but it would have accomplished the job. But I would probably have like let it sit there for months burning tokens. I probably would have like disassembled the whole game. It would have like done a whole disassembly. And I'm like, no. Focus on like, here's how you do A/B testing. Here's how you get the tiles. Here's blah, 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 blah. So there's a little bit of knowledge there that I had to inject. And what was I going to say? I don't know that I would describe it as like, we're going to need bigger problems to solve. I think the problems need to be more open-ended, and there will probably end up being a lot more subjectivity in like, I remember what I was going to say. We have been testing mechanics. Can you execute the mechanic of a derivative in math? And then someone made Wolfram Alpha and was like, okay, now we don't really need to test that because we have something that can reason about derivatives and can do it for us. And then, so we used to test that, and we still do, but at a certain point, we don't care about can a human do a derivative. We know there is an army of people who can do derivatives now. We have known that there's an army of people that can do reverse engineering and basic hacking challenges, cryptography, things like this. And there's value in learning that. The question is are those things still fun now that they're trivial? And I think the answer is no. And I think there's a lot of hackers that are like, but I based 20 years of fun on doing that. And why isn't it fun for other people? Because the level of curiosity that we built around those challenges came from the fact that they were hard and that other people didn't have answers for it. All of a sudden they become trivial and you have to wonder, well, what's the hard problem now? And it's not just that the problem needs to be bigger. It's like an open-ended problem that requires weird esoteric knowledge that is lost to time. Is an interesting game. I'm stuck on this one idea, but like I think that's an interesting way of doing it.
We started off this podcast talking about DEF CON Survival Guide. We have gone off the rails, pulling it back a little bit more to DEF CON and surviving DEF CON and things that like you want to do and things like that. I've looked a little bit. One of the questions I was asked a couple times is there anything off-site that you think is a necessity? Like you should go check out things like that. The ones that came to mind for me was the toxic barbecue, the DEF CON shoot. If that's something you're into.
Oh yeah.
The only other ones which were completely unrelated to DEF CON is like Omega Mart was really fun to go see and go check out. I'm not sure how many times I'd do it. Like one time was enough. But I know there's a couple other things like that.
Meow Wolf or Omega Mart. Yeah, definitely worth doing at least once. This is just me because I have good interactions with this. At least eventually one Cirque du Soleil show if you can afford it. My recommendation is the one at the Bellagio, which is a water show, just because the stunts in that are really cool. It's a pool show, so there's water and there's really cool stunts, and the story is just really cool. The clowns in that show are really great. So my recommendation would be something like a Cirque du Soleil show is always really good, and then of course Thunder from Down Under or Banana Bonanza, classics. Totally recommend those. Offsite and related to DEF CON, definitely Toxic Barbecue is really cool every year. I don't know, like the offsite thing has changed now that we're at the convention center. I don't know where anything is anymore offsite. It seems harder to find because it used to just be like, oh, we're just in the next hotel over or whatever. Mm-hmm. What's your thoughts on that?
I think like one of the biggest things I find is anytime I'm asked to leave DEF CON, like, oh, go to Chinatown. There's great restaurants over there. But like I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave DEF CON. I don't want to leave the people there. I think the hard one for me is at night. Like Hacker Jeopardy is like, again, that's on site. You have to do it at night. But if you hit those things up and you go, I'm going to go check out the parties at DEF CON, the Las Vegas Convention Center is so big. You almost have to plan out like, these are the parties I want to hit. Because you will waste an hour just going down the infinity hallway back and forth going, I wonder what's going on down there. Oh, nothing. It's closing up. Okay, well, what about this one? The other 20-minute walk back. You're like, okay, I found the arcade party. And this was fun. Let's go find another one. You almost have to like have a map in your back pocket. Hacker Tracker. That'd be the one. That would be the one tip that is going to be, that is like the audio. So I'm jumping all over the place. The audio at DEF CON for the talks is different this year. Did you know about this?
No, I know that in prior years they have limited who can do amplified audio because they weren't sure how it would bleed over, and also union stuff. But like putting that aside, no, what is the new rules?
So I believe it's Hacker Tracker is the official app they're using for it. You will be able to log into it on your phone. There will be ones there available if you don't want to use your own. But my understanding of it is you will be able to use the audio from Hacker Tracker to listen to the track. Like I'm in track 1, I push track 1, I listen to it on headphones, and I'm listening to that person right there talk.
Fucking amazing. And I think it was last year or the year before. I have a friend of mine whose wife is very hard of hearing. And she uses an assistive device in most contexts. And they've been trying to figure out speech to text in so long, or getting the audio directly into her ear. So if it works, like obviously, I hope they figured out a way that actually works well. If it works, is it only going to be for the tracks, or is it also going to be for all like the villages and stuff as well?
I assume it's probably I'm assuming it's like Alexander the Great. They're going to start with the Mesopotamia before they move outwards. They're going to start with the main tracks and then probably work outwards. But I don't know if the villages get access to it or not. But it was something I saw pop up, and I'm like, oh, that's really cool.
So you're watching. You're looking at me click on the game every now and then. I can see you.
Oh yeah, I see your screen over there, where it's just like all of a sudden I see a cube start spinning and things like that. Yeah. But yeah, again, DEF CON's only a few days away. I'm pumped. I am excited. I am a little like distracted with everything else going on, but I know when I get to con, I will be able to very much enjoy it. I'm looking forward to seeing you in person again, which will be quite nice.
Yeah, dude. I'm so I miss my hacker family. I need to see you guys. It'll be a year or two before I bring Lena or bring the family back, but I can't wait to make a new little hacker. Yeah, it's gonna be fun times. It's funny. Like I'll take a personal moment and just say, like, I was worried about becoming a dad, like losing hobbies because there's just not enough time. And I took my daughter to Otakon yesterday. She's 1. She doesn't know what's going on, but there's enough there for her to look around at. It's just like,
what's Otakon? Really quick.
It's the anime convention, OtakuCon. And so like there's a lot of cosplaying going on. There's a giant vendor area, all these things. And it's like it was only going to be me by myself at this 50,000 person conference with my 1-year-old daughter. And for anyone who, there's diaper changing, and there's a lot of mechanics that go on.
There's a lot of mechanics. That's a good way of saying it.
There's a lot of mechanics to bringing a toddler somewhere that I'm learning to appreciate. And like I was super worried that like, oh, am I not gonna be able to go to DEF CON, or when am I gonna be able to bring her, or things like that? Is it going, like, one of the things you think to yourself as a parent is this going to be worth it?
Mm-hmm.
And I am now strongly in the like, nope, it's definitely gonna be worth it if I just figure out how to work her into it. And it's just like, I'm excited to bring more hacker. I'm excited to bring a new hacker into the world.
Yeah, I think especially I feel like DEF CON has gotten the kids stuff figured out now. There's like Bia and there's other people who are now like actively growing it and doing it. And it doesn't have the weird growing pains. Like, because there's like 2 other organizations which tried to run it before DEF CON. It's like, you know what, this is just ours now. We're gonna run it ourselves. And it feels like it's just grown awesomely. I think it's probably because like we're now DEF CON 34. All the people who were coming earlier have now been 20 years older. They have had kids, and now they're looking at bringing them. So I think there's lots on the horizon for that one.
Yeah. I'll be interested to see. I was just saying, I'll be interested to see. Like, there's a lot of chaos in the world because of the whole AI thing and the banning of the AI. But I think you will endure. I think I think we will adapt and overcome, and things will be more fun in the future. I think there is a lot of value in no longer having to test boring mechanics and wasting 4 hours on a steganography challenge.
I'm just like, oh my goodness.
Only to find out that the person who wrote the challenge used some weird variant of the tool and it was unsolvable. I
Yeah,
know
where he
everyone
didn't.
who has played a CTF knows this pain.
Yeah, and then like the best one I've ever had is someone who's like, "Oh, it's a single pad cipher. That's really easy to solve." Like, no, no, it's impossible to solve. There's no way. If you can give me the algorithm, or you can give me my like, you can either give me the cipher that I'm using, and I can then guess the password, or you can give me the password and I can guess the cipher. You can't not give me the cipher and not give me a password because that is a not solvable problem. It's like, oh, it's a single pad cipher. It's easy. The pad is this arbitrary thing, like, which is a single quote in the movie Hackers. It's like, well, I wasn't even, the movie Hackers wasn't referenced anywhere. What, we're at a hacker convention. So it could have been war games. It could have been anything. Please, I beg you.
I will say that there is some, because I used to do these in prior career. Cryptograms give you neither, but you attack the algorithm by things like testing repeating bits and looking for weaknesses that suggest like, oh, there are characters that repeat and it's not a good. And so like you start using like probabilistic attacks.
Yeah, you can't do that when it's only 20 characters long.
Yeah.
When the flag is like 20 characters long, it's like, here's 4 random characters. It's a single pad cipher. It's like, no, it's just 4 random characters. Please. I've never had this problem before on any other CTF, but yours. I beg of you. No, I think that the one which I think there's growing pains and all of that, but I will say the thing that has made me like get excited again. That's the way of saying it. Getting excited again is the fact that from the time between idea and creation has gotten smaller and smaller and smaller.
Oh yeah.
Example. I was going to create an SAO for the photo team, which was going to be just like a step counter and things like that. And I went down the problem and I was like, oh, just off the wing, you can create this really easy. Here's all the code. Here's your schematic. Here's this. And it was like, wow, I could actually go off and do this now.
I am so excited to show you what I am bringing this year, and I will show you in person, and I'm not going to tell you because you're going to be like, I will tell you that I worked on this for about 4 days. And yes, I think I used Claude or Codex or something like that to do it. But when I finished doing it, and there's a physical component to it that I had to physically do. But when I finished doing it, I sat down and I looked and I said, this would have taken me months, 6 months, maybe longer to like actually sit down. I've been wanting to do this for years. I'm like, this would have taken me forever. And it took me like 3 days.
Yeah.
Like it's cool.
All right. With that, I will see you and anyone else who's watching, I don't know, a few days. Find us at con. Have fun.
Yeah.
Enjoy life. What's your parting shot?
Love your hacker family.
Thanks for watching and hack on.